Happy Friday. Welcome to the Zoom Test Kitchen. I'm David. How y'all doing? And things probably look a little different. I hope they look a little different because I got diffusion on my lights. Wait, now I want to make sure I look okay. Yeah, I think it's okay. I actually look a little darker than I'm used to. Oh, well. I have diffusion on my lights because office hours told me to. And I do everything that office hours tells me to do. Hello, everybody. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Good to see you. Just a quick update on our live streaming app before we go around, make the rounds. It worked on the first try today. I have it right now in follow speaker view. And so it is following me. I can see that. And I'm going to switch over right now to speaker view. The only thing that's not working still is I can't write chat to YouTube for some reason from the app itself. If I take in here to the app, you'll see I can't click in here at all, but everything else is working. So in any case, that's a good, it's a good start. So let's say hi. Hey, Mike. Boy, it's really I'm really dark. It's really bothering me.
Don't let it bother you. We can see you, David.
No, but I have to fix it now. Oh, I see the problem.
I see the problem.
There's the
What's the problem?
Lord,
there
we
go.
Yeah. Hello. 3,400 Kelvin is what I need.
Yeah, you got to make sure all your lights are all matching your camera's Kelvin. Absolutely.
Well, I have no idea what my camera's Kelvin. That's way above my pay grade.
Oh,
I just know what looks okay.
All right.
And I was going in the 5600s or something. I was like way down here, and someone said I looked like Casper the Friendly Ghost. So now I'm up at 3,400 or down at 3,400, whatever it's called. Mike, how you doing?
Doing all right.
Mike is famous.
No,
because he was on Conversations with Tony Mobley. It was a really good episode.
Was it? Good.
It really was. I chatted you in YouTube because I didn't know how to find the Mukana. I'm sorry, Tony. I couldn't find the Mukana, so I just said hi, Mike, in YouTube. I don't know if you saw it.
And yes, we did mention you on the show too. Did you catch that?
I did catch that, and I appreciated it so much. Thank you.
Yes. So I was monitoring myself on YouTube and saw that you did actually mention that.
Good. It was a really lovely conversation. And speaking of stars, Mr. Tony Mobley, how are you, sir?
I am doing very well. I'll just share this briefly. I had 2 milestones this week. So for the first time since January 2nd, I got into a car. So that was a big deal for me.
Wow.
And also, I walked around my cul-de-sac. So that was a first this year, 2024. So continuing to improve, and things are getting better. And then I had the privilege of having a great conversation with Mike on Wednesday night. So that was good. I felt very good about that.
Absolutely. And we should.
So it's been a good week.
And we should never, ever take for granted, and like with love and seriousness, never take for granted the ability to walk around, to get in our car. So you just made my week, Tony. That's fantastic to hear that you're coming along.
Yes, sir.
Just wonderful.
Yes, sir. I'm very happy about that.
Good. Hello, Mr. Frank. How are you, sir?
I'm well, thanks. How are you?
Good. I was thinking about you this week when Stream Deck released its 7,000 button rack mounted, and I thought, boy, you have to have a university or a school of 30. You've got to have like at least 30,000 Zoom users to require that many buttons.
I don't think so. Any medium-sized production facility would probably want something about that. I just wonder about the build quality. The buttons on Stream Decks don't seem like they would hold up the way professional broadcasting buttons would hold up, but who knows? I haven't touched one, so we'll see.
Right. And I mean, this isn't the Stream Deck test kitchen, but it's so many of us use them. But this to me was a fascinating move because Elgato has really always been consumer grade. You could maybe argue a little prosumer, but
Sure.
this is squarely in a completely different category, and so much so that they have Companion building an entirely new tool, Companion buttons. Yeah.
Yeah. That would be exciting.
And this thing is PoE, power over Ethernet. I mean, it's just the whole thing to me was really interesting. But the build quality is going to be interesting to see.
Yep, for sure.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Yeah. So good to see you. Lois, how are you?
I am doing quite well. Our weather has changed and it's no longer 100 and something, we're down in the 80s for our highs for the next
That's
week.
nice.
And it's going to rain in a couple of weeks, and it's like, it's getting to be fall. So I'm thinking a lot about my garden. I'm thinking about planting some of those flower seeds that you sprinkle out in the fall and hope that everything comes up nice. And so I'm looking out, and that's a good thing.
I love it. I love it.
I do have a question when we get done.
Sure. Down here in Florida, it's been for the past 2 weeks, every single day at 11, about 37 on the dot, it rains every single day at that exact time. It's just, it's crazy. It's crazy.
But isn't that normal for Florida?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yep. It rains like cats and dogs. No one's eating cats and dogs, but it rains like cats and dogs. Oh, I'm sorry. Was that a political comment?
Too
Hasbrook, how are
soon,
you,
David.
sir?
Too soon. Too soon, David.
How you doing, Hasbrook?
Oh, I'm companioned out.
Companioned out? Uh-oh.
I've been migrating from 2x to 3x. And I made a fatal mistake of typing @here in the companion channel in office hours. Boy, did I get put down so fast. I didn't even know that I couldn't even take the next breath. So
I am sorry. I'm
that's
sorry.
fine.
Down for what?
For adding
Well,
everybody.
when you put in Discord, when you put @here, it sends a notification to everybody.
Oh,
And so I politely wrote, well, it's just a sign of my frustration moving from 2x to 3x, so I can be forgiven.
When you say 2x to 3x, you mean two XL devices to 3 XL devices? So you added a third?
No.
Oh.
No. Version 2.4, whatever.
I'm sorry.
To,
Okay.
to version 3.31.
That's so funny. I moved over, it feels like years ago. Like when it first came out, I think I moved over.
Well, maybe I should have a tutorial with you.
No. I'm on 3.4 already.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
Well, I'm on the beta. I just always use the beta of everything because I'm an idiot. So,
And I use Companion with ZoomISO. So that's really where I had kind of interesting journey.
wow. Okay. All right. I see we also have a few other people here, which my OSC just disappeared. I see Roland is here. Good to see you, Roland. And Ray is going to be joining us. Fantastic. All right. So, couple notes for everyone. Next week, we're going to have a special guest. We're going to have some of our Zoom friends joining us. Apparently, they have some exciting things that they want to talk about with us. So they will be here hopefully next week. We also have a new release coming up, 6.2. This is a dot release coming up on Monday, it looks like. There doesn't seem to be all that much specifically for meetings and things like that. I mean, there's some good things. We can certainly work through those. It's not a huge list for meetings, but there are lots of little things for all the different, it looks like almost all the different areas that Zoom is in. And was that the only, okay, and I had a couple of things to talk about also, but Lois, you want to kick us off?
I will kick us off twice. I will kick us off both feet. The first one just occurred to me. You've got the multi-pin going. Multi-speaker, excuse me. So that I can see the various people as they talk, they pop up on my screen and it's great. It's wonderful.
Just to be clear, that's not me.
That's me.
No, that's just Zoom. I'm saying the multi-speaker is not something that I have going. That's just another view.
Multi-speaker is a personal view of the participant.
Correct. So there are three
Yes.
options now. There's speaker,
Yeah.
multi-speaker. Yeah. Okay.
Right.
I
So,
just didn't. Yeah, it sounded like you were giving me credit for something that I had not
well, no,
done.
I
Sorry.
thought that you were doing it that, and then that was what was going out to the YouTube. I thought you were using multi-speaker.
Oh,
You're
in
not?
my view, no.
Does
I'm
no
just-
multi-speaker not go out to YouTube?
That's actually an interesting question. I don't think it does. No.
Oh,
David, we
too bad.
tested that last week,
Did we?
and the answer for that is if you and I are are in multi-speaker mode, it'll still stay in speaker mode on YouTube.
Yeah.
yeah.
It's in speaker mode. I'm looking at YouTube.
Yeah.
It's speaker mode.
Okay, so my mistake for thinking that the YouTube would pick that up. But what I was thinking, and what I would like to suggest to Zoom, is in multi-speaker mode, when you've got some people there, and then like Mike isn't talking anymore, and he just turned his microphone off, so I know he's not going to talk anymore. Maybe they could pay attention to when someone's mic goes off, they'll get removed automatically from the multi-view. Wouldn't that be smart?
My understanding is that there is some smarts behind the wheel that's supposed to be doing some of that work, but I don't fully understand it. Mike, do you?
Yeah, it basically what ends up happening is if that person doesn't speak for X amount of time, that person will eventually drop back down to the gallery portion.
Yes, I knew that the X amount of time, but wouldn't it be nice if it was either the X amount of time or they turned their microphone off? That would be, anyway, never mind. That was one kick.
But wait, before you do that, so just Frank, thank you. Send feedback to Zoom, definitely. There's a link in the chat. I also just want to say though that because I just turned on multi-speaker for me, I also have in my settings I have view myself, so I can see myself in the gallery, but I also have don't see myself as active speaker, which means that I never pop in my view. I never pop up to multi-speaker, which means that multi-speaker is really different depending on your personal settings. It's different for everyone. So
Correct.
what you're seeing in the multi-speaker, so what I see in my multi-speaker right now is you and Mike. What do you see in your multi-speaker, Lois?
Well, I haven't got mine hidden, so I see you and Mike and me.
Right. So it's interesting because the choices, and now it switched.
And now
for me,
Mike
not
is
just
gone.
Lois. Right. It's just interesting because the choices that Zoom has to make are not only about whose mic is on or how long it's been on, but it's also the people's individual settings that they've made. So I just wanted to throw that in there.
Okay. All right. So I have been getting a reputation of being the person to ask about Zoom here in my little local community. And one woman came up to me and she said, I've got this problem. I don't understand this thing. And I said, send it to the Zoom test kitchen. We'll talk about it next Friday. She sent it to me because she wasn't sure how to get to the Zoom test kitchen. So here is the question. Can you show a video on Zoom? And she means by share screen. I know it can be done with stuff on YouTube, but I mean a movie that you access from another source, rent from Amazon Prime, for example. Has anyone found a way around the Zoom blocks? So first, let's talk about, does Zoom block movies you're watching on your own computer?
The definition of block is an interesting word. Lois, please explain.
Well,
that you
we
can't see it.
tried doing this a couple weeks ago with her, what she was doing. And there was a movie that they had they were able to turn it on and watch it on YouTube on their computer. When they shared screen, the screen came out black and with no sound.
Right.
Yeah, that sounds like a copyright issue. Maybe they are taking
Yep.
advantage of the copyright protection.
Well,
Yes.
it's not just that. It's actually also, I think, built in. I can demo this in a different way. I hope this works. I'm gonna bring you backstage for just a moment. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go ahead and add a widget. There's a reason why I'm doing it this way, so bear with me. I'm adding a YouTube video as a widget overlay to my stream, okay? And I'm gonna say, I'll just say keep it running, fine. Okay, fill entire frame. So what I wanna do is I'm gonna try and show this video. It worked, good. What I did is I basically grabbed a YouTube video, a web page, and brought it in. But you can see that, I'll get out of this, that it blocks it completely. So this isn't just a copyright thing. Well, yeah, thank you, Mike. This is us, and it's not. I knew it wasn't going to play it, which is why I put it in here. It's not just about copyright. It's that YouTube is actively blocking any access in certain circumstances. So the question is if you were to, I guess, download a video or have a video on your device. No, not download, sorry. If you were to try and play something through Netflix.
Or Amazon Prime or
Right, so Frank
whatever.
says, Zoom does not support the playing of HDCP content. Capturing HDCP content such as this could be a violation of copyright. Can you define, Frank, what HDCP is?
HD copy protection.
Oh, high definite copy protection, okay.
It's embedded in most video and audio, especially video sources, computers and other devices, except of the signal. And in the signal, there's a copyright protection mechanism that the devices consents, and then they know they're not supposed to show that stuff. And your friend is asking, how do I break the law, Lois?
No, she doesn't know that it's illegal. She's
Yeah.
just trying to figure out. So my answer to her is that particular thing that you want to show to the
Do you
other
think
6
that it
people
requires
in the
a lot
room
of unconditional love?
are legal.
Oh, that was David just doing some testing there. That's fine. No, I was just going to also add to
Sorry
Lois,
about that.
to what Frank was talking about as well. There's also Netflix, more specifically, they use a technology called digital rights management, or DRM. So it is a form like Frank was talking about for HDCP. But again, it is more based on the actual player software that is being used. So in this case, when you watch your Netflix on TV, there's special DRM negotiation that happens between Netflix and your actual player. And yeah, I'm just hearing, David, you're still playing some, we're hearing, definitely hearing the audio.
Thank you.
Yeah,
No.
so what I'm trying to do here, sorry, I was trying to demo this, but it's not.
Let's let Mike finish explaining. I think that will be helpful.
Yeah, go ahead, sorry.
So basically DRM basically stands for digital rights management, as I was saying. And basically what ends up happening between Netflix's servers, where you're actually asking the video to come, and your player of Netflix, be it in a desktop, in this case, Mac, PC, doesn't matter. If you're even watching it on your phone or even on, iPhone or Android, their players, all of them have special software and hardware-based decoders that understand that the digital rights management, because you're logged into your user account, happens. But if you're plugging that into something else to view it with, then this is where Frank was talking about the HDCP comes into play, because it knows that now you're going into a different piece of software or hardware, and it would be breaking the digital rights that Netflix has to their publisher. without going any further than that. But it's
So-
just copyright-based stuff.
So what I should tell her is the thing she's trying to watch is copyrighted, and there are mechanisms in place that will allow her to watch on her own computer if she's legal to do that, but it will not allow her to broadcast that over Zoom or whatever else. Is that a fairly concise description?
Yes, it is.
Okay.
There are ways around to do it. They are not legal, but it's possible to do it, but it's a bit
Yeah.
more technical effort.
And I'm sure she doesn't want to be illegal. And I think what will end up happening is that little 7-minute segment, she will probably have someone simply read the script of that rather than showing the movie of that.
Can I ask a question? Jeff Kellum said in the YouTube chat that this will also happen if you try to play the video to a non-HDCP display connected to that computer. So I just logged into my Netflix account, and in a browser, I'm in Brave, and I'm playing a movie, and it's completely blank. And this is why I was confused, because we can hear it. I have it muted right now, but we can hear it, but I can't see anything. Is this because my monitor, this display is not an HDCP display? And how do I know if it is, or how do I?
So I can answer the part about why we could hear it, even though we couldn't see it, is that when the sound comes out of your computer, your microphone picks it up.
No. No, you could hear it because I hadn't muted it. But
David, you want me to give it a shot here? I can answer you, because this is based on digital rights management.
okay.
So basically, because you're hearing the audio, they're allowing the audio through, but the video, they're actually encrypted, which means that it's being digital. It's got the digital rights both of the tracks have it, the audio track and the video track. Both are given the digital rights management. But if you're hearing the audio and you're not seeing the video, that is the digital rights management kicking in, because you're trying to do something that you officially are not paying Netflix to do.
Huh.
Which they don't offer to non-consumer based publications or people.
Hasmik, Frank, and Tony, please.
Yeah, no, my issue is something completely different on Zoom tiles, but if we've killed the subject, I'm happy to bring it up.
I was going to say one more thing about HDCP.
Yeah, if it's okay, let's hang on HTCP because I'm still a little confused, and then we'll hop over to tiles. Frank, go ahead, please.
All right. So there's two things to consider. Let's say it's a movie or a TV show, for example. In many countries, I'm not a lawyer, but in many countries, there's the concept of fair use. So you can show a certain amount of a movie or video to comment on it for satire or political opinions, and there's a whole list of reasons and how much you can use. That's the intellectual property. But then there's also the mechanism of how it was encoded to stop you from copying the source material. That's a different kind of copyright. So let's say I had a DVD and I wanted to make a copy of it for political commentary. I'm allowed in my country to show a certain amount of that video for political commentary, but I'm still breaking copyright if I undo the encryption that stops me from copying the DVD. So there's intellectual property right, and then there's the encryption. And the encryption, I don't have a right to break the encryption. So that's a different kind of copyright. So anyways, it's pretty complicated, and it depends where you live and what the laws are in your country.
Thank you so much. Tony, go ahead.
So I just wanted to ask Lois, was this in an effort to do some teaching? What was the reason why she was trying to share the information?
So it's a church service, and we're hoping to listen to this segment, which is our the 7 values of Quakers, and then have a discussion. This is a Quaker service, and have a discussion about that. I think what I'm going to tell her our answer from here, and then I'm going to contact the people who created it and see if they can just send us a file.
So the reason I asked the question is that this is a YouTube video that was being blocked, or this was something from a streaming service that was
It's a
blocked?
recording, sir, a recording, and I am not sure whether it is actually YouTube or it's something else. I think it may be something else.
Okay.
Because she was
the reason-
asking about Amazon Prime, which is not YouTube. So
Okay. So as Andre shared, that there are ways to get past it, and I used to have my system set up so that I could actually play any streaming service in my setup in Zoom. And there were a couple of religious programs that we watched as a group, but this was not something that was shared in YouTube. So we watched several different religious programming that was on streaming services, but there are only 6 of us right now. So, and we had conversation about it, but I think the device that I used, that I connected to my Apple TV, is the way in which I brought it in. I think it was like $20 or something like that. I no longer use that, but it was just for a specific case and a one-time use. But if it's not being broadcasted, if it's just like an internal thing inside of Zoom, I'm not sure that, for conversation and for educational purposes, I'm not sure what that would mean, because you're not letting that information go outside of the internal Zoom. So I just wanted to mention that there are some things that will allow you to do that. And like I said, I can't reach the actual device now, but it's a little switch, and I was not given to me, but I got the link from one of the office hour members, and so it's a way in which you can utilize that kind of thing. But like I said, I don't have it set up anymore.
right, and as Frank said, there's a difference between the intellectual rights. So if it was a book, I wouldn't feel at all problematic to read, 5 pages of that book and then we talk about it, and it's on Zoom, and so I've published the reading of that book. I wouldn't have a problem with that because that would be a fair use situation. But breaking the encryption, I know I can do it. I've got ways of doing it. I just wanted to find out if there was a legal way to do it.
I think, as I understand it, the issue is if someone were to take something that is copyrighted and then broadcast it as if it is their actual
No,
product.
that's not true.
That's
You're-
different.
Zoom, just because you're in a closed Zoom meeting doesn't mean it's not a broadcast by a lawyer's definition. It's being sent over the internet to different people. You're not having a single viewing in your home. It's a whole different situation. And removing and buying a device or software that allows you to do it is still breaking the encryption, which is its own copyright violation.
Yeah, there's a difference between what is legal to do and what is moral to do. So we may feel, and I've done this, right, that taking a small clip from a show or even an entire episode and showing it in a small room or in a Zoom for the sake of education, we may feel that is, we're not making money off of it, we're not putting it on YouTube, all that other stuff. That may feel moral and right to us. It does to me. That does not mean that it's legal. And that's the challenge that we're up against. Mike Andy rather is just saying that on YouTube the legal line is so hard that it depends on content and the rights attached. Yeah. Yep. So Lois,
Thank you, everyone,
Yeah.
for that discussion. And if I personally wanted to get something off my screen, I know Command Shift 5 on a Mac will do it, but then I wouldn't turn around and share it. Yeah.
Yeah. And there are tools like Downy for the Mac. You know, it's a great tool to download videos that are not yours.
All right. Thanks.
Did you have a second thing or no?
This was the second thing.
This was the second thing. Okay, beautiful. Hasmuk, you wanted to do tiles, right? Is that what we're talking about here?
Yes. So I was thinking of bringing in tiles in my production. And very briefly, when I have a medical event, my host machine that starts the meeting is ZoomISO. And I normally show the gallery view to the talent. But if we have more than 49 people, they only see page 1 unless I shift the page around. So my thinking was, why don't I join the meeting with Zoom tiles as well and feed the Zoom tiles signal onto his teleprompter? So I'm not feeding it into the meeting, but just to the talent, so that it rotates through all the attendees or participants. But I thought there may be a latency issue of what the talent sees and what's actually happening in the meeting. If the talent is looking at the Zoom tiles session on the teleprompter to follow the meeting, but everybody else is in the Zoom ISO part of the meeting. So that's my question.
But if they're just looking at the gallery view, there's no audio that they're receiving from it, correct?
No. So it's an interactive thing. It's so the talent is interacting with the audience in the meeting. So they're looking at mostly the gallery view of the meeting. If somebody asks a question, and then Zoom ISO isolate the individual that's asking the question and feed that individual into the teleprompter for the talent. So the talent only sees that one individual and engages in the conversation. If that's not happening, the rest of the time they're looking at the gallery view. Now, if I have more than 49 people, they're looking at the same people throughout the 3 hours or so. So I thought if I join the meeting with tiles and feed the tiles to another monitor, and that monitor would be the teleprompter for the talent. So the talent would be looking at Zoom tiles.
And hearing Zoom tiles also?
Well, this is the question. That's why I'm putting this question, is to that would be a challenge because my audio is managed through the MixPre. So they connected to the MixPre, which is part of the Zoom ISO setup. So the meeting audio in and out is through MixPre. So the audio wouldn't be going through Zoom tiles, or should it go through Zoom tiles?
Right. So
later my assumption is that there will be a latency issue either of the audio or the video, because they'd be listening to the meeting through the Zoom ISO connection, which is on the host machine. But the video they're watching, I was hoping to put Zoom tiles feed on their video.
Right. So it's not I don't think the issue is a latency issue. It's a sync issue. Is that you're getting video from one source and audio from a different source, and because
exactly
of a number of different factors, they're not necessarily going to be in sync. I'm going to jump over to Andre and just
they're not talking, Hasmuk. They're not talking, and would be very distracting. You're putting all those tiles in the teleprompter? Is that what you mean?
Well, the only reason for putting the tiles on the teleprompter is so that it rotates through the different participants in the meeting, so they're not watching the same 49 people.
But
Right,
it's not
has
in
McOne's-
sync anyway. It doesn't need to see them nodding their head or responding, because you're going to switch
No,
to
no.
them. So the latency shouldn't be an issue, but I think as a presenter, I would think it'd be very distracting.
So and we're hearing the same thing from Robert on YouTube. Robert is saying that he's tried this, the talent gets very distracted. I will say that when I'm presenting, I always want to see the gallery view. I do want that feedback, you know, the head nods and the things like that. So, you know, different strokes for different folks. But I think two things here are true. Number one, there's going to be sync issues, but it probably doesn't matter because they're not if they're just looking at the gallery, then they're not necessarily, and you've got 49 people, they're not really going to see the person who's speaking anyway. So I'm not sure that's going to be much of an issue. The second question is, will it be helpful or hurtful to your speakers?
Presenter.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice try.
Hasma, here's a question for you. Are you trying to re-engineer similar to what people were doing during the pandemic, where they would have like a monitor wall and the person would be presenting and you would have the different galleries up?
Yeah, I'm trying to simulate that on the main screen that the talent is looking at is the teleprompter. So on a teleprompter, I normally just leave it a gallery view. Unless somebody's asking a question, I isolate them and I bring in the isolated person video onto the teleprompter so that the talent is engaging that one person in the conversation one-to-one.
Right. Now, are you trying to do more than 49, which is all you can get on?
Exactly. Yeah,
So
I know I could switch pages on the gallery itself, moving from one page to the other. And I thought that would be distracting. Maybe Zoom tiles would be even more distracting.
Yeah, Robert is saying that in the chat, that actually the interesting maybe it's not the feedback that's distracting, it's people changing, it's things changing in tiles. Andre's been waiting, and I'm so sorry, Andre. Go ahead.
That's not a problem. Hasmuk, I was gonna say you could set up a Stream Deck button to change the gallery view, but as the other one said, maybe this is distracting for the talent. What you could do is like set up multiple gallery views, like a little bit like tiles itself, but you would have the delay issue all the time. Whenever you compose something, you will have some kind of delay. But the question is, will this actually distract your talent because they only want to see the people, the whole of the people, and they don't see one talking? And if they see one talking, then you do it via ZoomISO, and then it is in sync. So maybe it doesn't matter that much if it's in sync or not.
Yeah. So most time they looking at the gallery, and if somebody's talking, I bring that person in as an ISO anyway to the talent monitor. So there's no distraction in that. It's just that what I've experienced is when the presenter leaves and I say, how many people were there in the meeting? And I said, well, there were 120 people. Oh, I thought it was only those first few people. I didn't realize that there were so many folks in the meeting. So it's almost trying to give a impression of the size of folks in the meeting. Doctors aren't the smartest, so you have to visually entertain them. That's what I'm trying to do.
Yeah, maybe just set up a tiles page with all the participants, show them this, and maybe this gets even too small to get an idea of what people are there, because it's just a teleprompter,
Gotcha.
not a big monitor wall. Yeah.
Got you.
You know, when we get unique speaker, not active speaker, but unique speaker, you could, with tiles, build a feed with you wouldn't even need to send the ISO in. You could have everything just for your talent right there. You could have the person questioning in the center, and then the other gallery, maybe we're really distracting them now, but other gallery view around that, and just have the audio from the same place. We don't have that yet, and Jeff is just mentioning also that gallery view also changes as people turn their video off or on, which is a really good point. We can't completely get rid of the distraction. Lois and Ray, please.
So I have actually one suggestion and one question. You keep saying you're putting on the teleprompter. I thought the teleprompter was the thing where you put the words so you could see what your speech was. Isn't that the teleprompter?
It is the teleprompter, but I use the teleprompter setup so that the presenter is looking at the gallery view or is looking at the meeting. So I don't
And
have
when
to
they're
tell them
looking
look
at the camera. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so one suggestion is you could ask, sage question, ask your presenter, would you like to see just the first page, or would you like me to occasionally change it so you get to see other people?
Yeah, it's a good suggestion.
I know, every presenter is going to be different. Yeah.
I normally figure out I have to decide what's good for them.
Who was up? Was it Ray? Ray, please. Oh, are you still there, Ray?
Yeah, I'm here.
Oh.
It's just, sorry, you can only ask so much of a presenter. And if they're presenting content, they're thinking about their content, to see and discern 120 people in little tiny boxes, just as a distraction. As a presenter, I don't care how they tell you they'd like to know what the audience is, they can only talk to one person at a time. And putting that up is believe me, every time I've seen it, it's been a distraction. The minimum, the better. And the content is more important in the teleprompter than in my opinion, than in the showing the whole audience.
Then
For-
Hasmukh, maybe you could do something like you said that this presenter wasn't aware how many people were in the meeting. Maybe you could do something like show a whole screen at the beginning with tiles, like with 150 people, and then go to the regular gallery and stay there.
That's a great suggestion. Yeah.
Here's
yeah.
actually a
So-
Zoom ISO question actually that I have. Can you actually take the number of connections from either ZoomISO or ZoomOSC? I don't use the software, so I'm asking, can you actually take the physical number of how many people are in the meeting at that current time as text that is live and make it into some sort of lower third maybe that he can throw up on the, so that he actually will see X amount. So similar to like when we're watching YouTube now, you could actually see how many people are watching. Can you actually do that then on this confidence monitor by dragging some of that information out on ZoomOSC or ZoomISO?
I don't know the answer.
Did I stump
Me
everybody?
neither. I think it's
Roland
possible,
says
but
yes.
maybe not too easy. Yeah.
Okay, so Roland says yes, you could actually take the information by using ZoomOSC. David, you've got ZoomOSC?
I have
in theory-
ZoomOSC. I'm not sure I can answer your question though.
Okay. So again, what I was thinking again for Hasmukh's situation is that as the number changes of how many people are actually connected in the meeting, you could actually put that up as a graphic somewhere on the screen so that they actually.
I'm sure you could. Yeah. I have no doubt that you could grab that information.
But why would you
Yeah,
want to distract the presenter with, well, we've gone from 146 to 147. Wouldn't it be sufficient at the end of the program after the presenter's done to just say, thanks from everybody here and the 147 people that were in the audience?
Some people like to know.
It's called massaging
Yeah, in
Okay,
my
let me
experience,
stop there.
every customer wants to know how many people have watched their experience. Yeah.
Exactly.
And then it'll just depend on if they actually want that number live or they're okay after the event is finished.
Right. Okay.
Oh, we
Well-
actually have the command in YouTube from our YouTube audience, actually.
Oh, hello. Let your nerd be heard in companion with the ZoomOSC. Hold on a second. Let's,
Oh, we're going to experiment. We're going to blow up
should we
companion for
experiment?
David.
Yep, let's do it. All right. So I'm going to hop over to companion.
Yeah, I
Houston,
was
we
about
ever-
to say the same. I think you should get the variable from companion query very easy.
Yeah. All right. So here we are in companion. I'm going to go to a page where I have room. Let's go to, I'll just do it over here, meeting action. So we're going to create a button and the variable, I'm copying the variable. So the button text string is, no, that is not what I wanted. It is $sign ZoomISO. Oh, I'm not using ZoomISO. It's not going to work, but mini number of users, like that.
No, I think ZoomISO Mini is the description of the name of the machine.
Yeah, I think so also.
Yeah, but
So-
you should be able to check the variables tab at the top. There is a variables. No, more top. Yes.
Yeah.
There you should get the ZoomOSC, ZoomISO variables, and then you can search by filter.
Number of users.
Yeah,
OSC
Hasbuck's getting serious about this one, David. He's got his glasses on.
Yeah. So now we got that. So let me see if I put this here. Look at that. So you can see right here, there are 13 people on this call. That's actually really kind of nice to have. So there you go. So I'll copy the code here and put it in the chat for us. Pretty fantastic. And presumably, let's just see what happens. I'm gonna leave the meeting from my tiles machine. There you go. Without hesitation.
That was quick.
Without
Oh.
hesitation. Yeah.
Please rejoin. I'm interested how fast it gets
Yeah.
back to 13.
So this is interesting. I just rejoined, but I'm in the waiting room. It counted me even in the waiting room. For what it's, I don't know if that matters, but
It's close enough.
no. I'm just saying though. It's
But that's cool because then you know how many people are in the waiting room maybe before the meeting started.
Yeah, I wonder if there's a command for a waiting room. To count the number of folks in just the waiting. Well, actually, you can see that right in the. Yeah, you can also see that in the participant list. Wait, why are we doing this? Ray's
Because
shaking
the
his head. I
presenter
don't-
doesn't have a participant list open?
But it could.
Well, yeah, it's one more distraction.
Yeah, like this isn't using companion. Right, you could then use Isidore or something else and make that into an overlay. Yes, you could
Or
do all of the, or they could just open their participant list.
yeah, or maybe
you
you,
could get a
you put
sticky.
him, you set him a little stream deck at his side with only this button that is showing like the number of participants.
There you go.
That's Andre. That's exactly what I'm thinking.
Great.
The other thing you could do, I mean, if you could use something like, oh my goodness, what's it called? The countdown, the timer, where you send folks a URL and it counts down for them and stuff like that. Oh.
mean
I
Stage
doing?
Timer?
Thank you. You could use
Stage Timer
Stage,
IO?
yeah, sagetimer.io, because you can, there's a way to put notes in there, but then again, you could just put it in chat. We are really overthinking this. We're fighting a million ways to do what Zoom could already do, I think. But that's okay. Roland,
And
you
you
Zoom.
wa-
Sorry, go ahead.
And the presenter just wants to know how many people heard it. So it's enough to do at the end, I think.
Well,
Would be for me.
yeah.
So how many people are watching this right now on YouTube?
Oh, how many people are watching? That's a whole different question. We've got 12 concurrent viewers, 13 well, because I just turned it on. 13 concurrent viewers. You could build a mini dashboard with total count, cam on, and hand raised. There are variables for all three. Yeah,
Basically, you could nerd out on this as much as you wanted to.
you could. I mean, look, that's why Companion is just, along with ZoomOSC, the data that you can get out of ZoomOSC is so rich, and the way that Companion is able to present it to us with the it's just, it's really pretty amazing. Yeah, I have, on my little, silly Companion page here, on my, I'm trying to zoom in, it's not working for me, I'm sorry. Come on, Zoom. Oh, well. Over here, you can see there's a number 1 on these. When I add someone so right now you can see there's 1 because I'm here. If I were to add someone, what just happened? Oh, sorry. Let me try that again. So if someone is selected, I can add 1. And you can see these numbers change that way I can see, oh, wait a second, I've selected 3 people. Do I really want to knock them all off or put them all on? And then the same thing is down here with group 2. If I were to add a bunch of people to group 2, I have this variable to change automatically to show me how many people I have in group 2. So it is very, very helpful. Now I have to take you all out of group 3, group 2. 2, 3, remove. Oh, that didn't work. My buttons are broken. All right, in any case.
Who had the over under on how long it would take for David to actually bring a companion?
Well, wait, let me see here. What am I doing? Group 2. Oh, I know why. Because it's not group 2 anymore. It's group 3. That's why. Companion, the module for ZoomOSC and Companion changed so that now group 1 is by default your hosts, group 2 is by default your spotlights, and group 3 is you can now make your own. So now if I go back in and I put those 3 people into group 2, even though it's really group 3, now if I press that, nothing happens still. Well, that's no fun. Why isn't it working?
David, should I have spotlight you or not?
I don't know. I'm just pressing buttons. I don't know what I'm doing anymore. I don't
Is
even
this
know what
part of,
mode.
David, is what you're doing part of Zoom?
I'm not really sure. Yes, it is. It's ZoomOSC. It's ZoomOSC.
Okay.
But,
Why?
But
Am I
to
boring
be
you?
fair to what Lois is asking is that it's not built into the Zoom software specifically, but
It is not.
it is built into if you really wanted to take that meeting to that next level.
So it's an addition that you purchase? Or it comes with one of
It's
the more
ZoomOSC.
expensive
It's
places?
ZoomOSC or ZoomISO you need to purchase to get and install Companion to utilize it in this
Right.
case.
I'm pretty sure that I'm making this so much worse by what I'm doing right now, but I'm going to try it anyway. So add to group. Okay. And now, yeah. Okay, well, you all don't need to watch me do this. This is one I actually use quite a bit. I'm surprised it's not working right now. In any case,
How do you know it's not working? I mean, you're just looking at the controls. How do you know what it looks like in reality?
no. So all I'm doing is putting folks into groups. I'm not changing anything in Zoom. So here, okay. So if I go into group, let me go into my hosts group. Clear selections. Oops. Clear selections. So if I go to my host group, right now there are 3 hosts on this meeting. Me, and hosts and co-hosts. It's both of them. No, I do not need another Stream Deck. Robert, thank you. Although it was pretty cool looking. So
He's still thinking about studio, Robert, I could tell.
Yeah. So by default, ZoomOSC will put all of my hosts and co-hosts into group 1. By default, Zoom will put anyone who's spotlit into group. It was I called it group 2. It's now called spots. So what I have is I have another group, which clearly I do not have set up correctly, where I've put people into. Well, let me go back over here. Let's see. So manage selection of groups, select host, select spotlight, replace group 2. No, this is not what I wanted.
So,
it
Lois,
looks like-
essentially, these groups make it possible for David to select people and pre-select people and then take actions.
Right.
Yeah.
And it looks like in that group 5, he has 2 people, himself and Tony. And so, but he's not looking at the group. So how does he
No,
know?
so
if it's working?
I actually am looking. So this is the group right here, this page that I'm on. So what I did is, let me, the problem is I'm not sure how to get rid of, I don't know why I can't get rid of this group. That's what I'm trying to do. Bear with me for a second here. Remove from group. That's what I want. So now if I choose this, I'm not quite sure why this isn't working. Group 2, position 1, remove. Let me try that. What should be happening here is that this person should be disappearing from this page because I'm removing them from group 2. But for some reason that's not working right now. So in any case, but Lois, what the way I have this set up is that when I add someone to groups, so I'll take, I'll go back to, and I'll add Mike and Roland, right? So I've now selected 2 people, Mike and Roland. When I click on add to group 2, it's going to do a few things. It's going to add them to this group, and it's going to change the page of my Stream Deck to that group page. Now it didn't, you can't see it change here, but it did change on my Stream Deck. It changed to this page here. But look at that, it didn't add them. Yeah, all right, I'm doing something wrong. But again, you all don't need to watch me mess with this. I will figure it out, I promise.
On the right, it says edit button, and you're working in this thing that's the button about something else. Is that just because I don't know that you can edit groups in a button?
Say that one more time. I didn't follow, I'm sorry.
When you're showing the screen, on the right-hand side, at the top, it says edit button, and then it's got that thing, and then it's got other stuff down there. Are you editing a button?
Yes. This is how you build your buttons. So this is this up here is what you want to be on the name of the button, on the text on the button. And all this is telling me grab the name of the person who is in this spot in your Zoom. And then you can change the font and the color and what have you. And then down here you have actions, press actions, release actions, and then you can do feedback and all this other good stuff.
Okay. Thank you.
Yep. Sure.
So, David, do we have any other topics today?
I had one actually. Actually, I had two. One is a it's not a topic. It's something to be aware of. I had a problem this week when I was in a Zoom trying to screen share, and I think Frank tried to come to my rescue. And when I was screen sharing, I'll demo this for you. So when I was screen sharing, say a keynote, I was only getting, I wasn't able to choose the keynote presentation. So by way of example, I'm opening a keynote here, and you can see that I've got two windows. I've got this is my presentation over here, and then I've got the speaker view over here. So this is how, if I were screen sharing into Zoom, this is how I might do it. And I just want to screen share this right here. But what was happening is that when I was going into Zoom, and I think I could show you a picture of this. When I was in Zoom trying to screen share, it was not showing me both of my keynote windows. It was just showing me keynote. And I could not choose to show just one thing. Here's an example of what I was seeing. So if you look on this side is after the fix, and this side is before the fix. And what you can see here is that you can see it says keynote and there's a number 2 under it. That's because it knows that there are 2 windows open in keynote, but I can't choose which window. And if I were to click on that, then all it would do is capture both keynote windows, basically in a rectangle, and share that. I didn't have what I have over here after the fix, which is the individual. You can see here, I've got the presenter display, and then I've got the keynote itself. So as it turns out, the fix to this is a setting in your Zoom settings. Where is it here? Here it is. And it comes under share application. So if you go into your Zoom settings, go to share screen, there are 2 options under share applications: share individual window or share all windows from an application. And what happened is this toggled off. I guess I didn't update it at some point. It toggled off by accident. You have to have this set to share individual window. Now, what that means is that it will let you select an individual window to share, as opposed to share all windows, which means there's going to be one share and you're going to get all of them, which is exactly what happened over here, right? I had one share with all the windows available. Over here, I had multiple shares, one for each window. So I discovered that I was banging my head against the wall trying to figure out why I couldn't share my keynote correctly, and that was the fix to that.
Does it make any difference? I know that there are a lot of people out there who are multi-monitor folks. I'm being a one-monitor folk, I don't have such a question, but for the multi-monitor folks, does it matter which monitor you have assigned which window to as to whether or not it shows up in your share screen?
It doesn't for me. If I were to right now, well, I'll do it. So I'm going to open up my screen share here.
You might want to move something to monitor 2 first before you screen share.
I already have plenty of stuff over there. Lots and lots of stuff. Frank wants me to stop talking and get to the release notes. I'm going, Frank, I promise. I'm just giving you trouble. All right, so I have, am I sharing the right thing? Yes, I am. So you can see here, I've got a whole bunch of stuff open, and these are on 3 different monitors. I've got 3 different monitors connected, and it's grabbing things from everywhere. It's got my 3 desktops, and then all the different things that are available on all the different monitors. So yes, or no, I should say.
Is that actually the share screen choice, or is that something else? You have so many things open. I'm not sure what's what.
This is the screen share. I click on screen share in Zoom.
How
And this
can
is
you
what-
show screen share when you're sharing screen?
I'm not sharing screen right now. I didn't actually select something
Okay.
to choose. Yeah. Yeah. Tony, go ahead.
If I understand you correctly, the thing that I was doing, I couldn't get past this with the house of worship services that I've been a part of. And so my most recent solution to this was to isolate one of my computers and only screen share that PowerPoint or Keynote from the one computer. And I'm not doing anything else because actually it's the computer that I normally
Do you mean the
do
one
recording on.
display, or is it a different computer, or is it just a display?
Well, I was doing it I think I was doing it the same way you were describing, and it would take over all of my screens, and so I could never see what was going on. The PowerPoint was going fine for the people who were watching,
Right.
but
Well,
I
so
couldn't
that's
see anything.
Right. That's a play in window versus play full screen issue. Right. That's not what I was talking about, but yes. Yes.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry.
Yeah. No, not at all. So what Tony's talking about is if you there is a way to do this in PowerPoint. Forgive me, I don't have it handy right now, but in Keynote, if you Keynote, I'm just going to open it up again. If you don't, you have to say open in window. So let me make this larger so that always trying to clean up my screen for you all. I'm sorry. So here's Keynote. And if I go up to the play button, I've got a couple options here. I can do in full screen or in window. And you'll see if I change to full screen, now you won't be able to see all of this, but as soon as I click play, everything's going to disappear from every monitor that I have. Like it's just gone. In fact, I don't even know where everything is now, to be honest with you. So I'm going to quit Keynote because it really just throws everything for a loop. If you instead do play in window, then you're able to keep it in check, as it were, and control the view. What I'm talking about is in Zoom, making sure that in your settings, your screen share settings, that you have the checkbox for show individual window for a screen share, because otherwise you won't be able to identify. You won't be able to say, I want to show my presentation as opposed to my presentation and my speaker notes. So that's where I was going with that. I did have just a question, and we don't have to do this now, but I'm curious about, I was trying to find, I'm teaching a class on how to use this stuff. And every week I want to use a different tool. I want to show them by actually using it in the class, different tools. So last week I used StreamAlive and I did some fun stuff with that. But I really want to focus on tools because Zoom is the primary platform that they're going to be using. I want to focus on tools that are built in. This is not a crew that's going to have multiple monitors or multiple computers and, going to be able to bring stuff in and ATEMs and all that. So I was curious what apps you all would suggest, what Zoom apps you all would suggest are best for, just in general, for any kind of use really within Zoom.
The Zoom Music, I think, is fantastic.
Zoom Music?
Zoom music is fantastic, I think. We've been using it now for the last 2 weeks for sure, with Conversation with Tony Mobley. And I'm actually trying to see if there is some Christian music that I can use for House of Worship. And it's, copyright free, and it's a part of Zoom. And so I definitely recommend that. And
Is that a
I've been
music
playing.
library? Sorry, is that a music library that you have access to?
Yes, and it's
Ah,
copyright
okay.
free. It's a part of Zoom.
Yeah,
And you can
Andrea,
use this as well. You can use this as well to play it in the live stream, I believe, without
Yes.
getting. That's cool.
Yes.
Pretty
So
good.
here-
I didn't know it.
So
Yes,
here
it's
is,
fantastic.
I'll just show. So this is the music app here, this guy up here. And I'm curious if you can, you can't, doesn't seem to be any search, which is kind of interesting, but, yeah, there's no, all right, well, let's go back and acoustic essentials. And then now I'm curious, does this music wants to
Here-
share all computer audio? Here we go. Interesting. Music wants to, so I just got this pop-up. Music wants to share all computer audio. Allow this for the duration of this meeting. So I guess that means this is doing the screen share audio thing. Is that what's happening here?
Tony, you might want to explain how the crew are doing it for.
Can you hear anything?
conversation.
I can't hear anything. Are you
We
hearing
do hear
music?
something.
I hear music. I definitely hear music.
Yeah,
Really?
I do too.
Oh yeah.
Oh, there it is. Sorry, it was just it's really faint. Does my volume control volume for you guys?
Yes, because you turned it up.
Yes. That's
'Cause it was
cool.
low and you turned it up.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
All right, I'll stop it. Sorry. Yeah, do you want to talk about how you all are using it?
So we're using it, and it's actually interfacing with Mimo Live, and we're bringing it in as a separate separate. So we play it at the beginning of Conversation with Tony Mobley, and we play it at the end of Conversation with Tony Mobley during the credits roll. So that's how we're using it. But it's enjoying it. We've been listening to a variety of different kind of genres. Mr. Clark Lopez Waterman has basically been responsible for the music selections, and so we've been enjoying it. So
It's interesting that they don't have a Christian. That would be nice to have a Christian.
David, keep in mind that they have to get the royalties for
Yeah,
all
no, of
these.
course. Yeah.
So there is a fee that Zoom has
Sure.
to pay from the company that they're getting this from, if they're not getting it directly from the actual performers / copyright people.
Lois, you're gonna have to compete with this. I don't know unless you're gonna sing or something. I don't know.
Oh, I'm not going to sing. You do not want to hear me sing. Yeah, so am I understanding correctly that an individual singer-songwriter can take one of their own creations and say to Zoom, here, give this to people to use for free and put it in the library?
Frank is shaking his head. Frank, help us out.
The Zoom Music app is powered by a different company who's giving copyright clearance to their assets. They've either purchased them or created them themselves.
So if they have something that they're allowing to be played on Zoom, if it's also the same song been published out in the world,
I bet you it's
what
not.
do you-
I
so
bet you
you-
there's no song on there that's not proprietary. It's like getting stock photos.
Yeah.
There's stock music sources where companies hire people to create jingles and songs, and some of them even sound like popular songs, but they're different enough that it's not a copyright violation. But I don't think you're going to find any commercial music in there.
Good. Okay, that was Sigh.
Were
I've
you,
got a friend who.
were you
Yeah,
hoping for?
I've got a friend who has allowed me to use her music on my shows since the 90s. And I had TV shows for a while. Now I have a radio show. But this has also been published on a CD, a DVD, whatever. And so I can't just use her music, even though she's given me permission, because I don't know how to tell the censors that, oh, by the way, she's given me permission.
Hey, Lois, I'll do you one better. I have 6 albums of my own music that I've produced since 1994. I can't play my own music on YouTube because I'm the copyright holder, but I do it through a company. It's distributed through a company, and so if I play my own music, I get a strike. So yeah, it's a challenge.
David, a suggestion for you is to put up all the albums underneath your own name or your whatever you go as that singer-songwriter on YouTube, and then tell YouTube, okay, if anybody plays my songs from my libraries here, they will then be able to reimburse you.
Right. I'm
And
just
then
not.
you can
I'm just
then
not
play it
sure that
yourself.
because I use a distributor. I'm not sure that I'm able to do that. That's the
Unless,
problem.
of course, they block that, yes.
Because technically they don't own it, but technically they have the rights. They have distribution rights. That's what it is. That's what it comes down to. I
But
think.
they're not the copyright holder. So you still have the right to,
Right, but they protect
distribute it,
copyright
yeah.
on my behalf, essentially. I think.
yes,
Yeah.
I understand.
Yeah.
And they collect the money too.
And then I'm pretty sure they keep the money. Actually, yeah. So, in any case, all right. What else have we got? Any other apps?
What about some updates?
Well,
We got the
can I-
update?
wait. Are there any more apps?
Apps? Oh,
There's one app I like, remote settings control.
Remote
Do you use that one?
settings? No. Wait, have we talked? Is this the one where you can play with someone else's audio?
And video.
Oh yeah, I remember when that came out. Yes, that is
The
a
reason
nice-
I'm suggesting it is if you've got someone on the other side of the Zoom meeting who doesn't know how to control anything in Zoom, you
Yeah.
could fix it for them or adjust
Yes.
it.
Remote settings.
that's
control.
exciting.
Right,
How hard
that's
is it
nice.
to do that, Frank?
It's pretty easy, I think.
I will open it up for
Okay,
us.
so
we
Frank,
played
can you
with-
adjust my video or audio or something? I'll
I
be your
can-
guinea pig.
I can show you how if you'd like to see how that.
Yeah,
how
David's
that
already
works.
doing it.
So I opened the app, request remote control. It's called remote settings control, but then it says request remote control. Click a participant to invite them to the app. So I see you, Lois, here. I'm going to go ahead and click on, I sent you an invite. And then if you say yes, you will jump down from this up here to down here, which will show me that you are active and available for remote control.
So what it has done is in the chat, there's a message directly from David that says, it's inviting you to use the Zoom app. So if I click the open button, let's see what happens here. Oh, now a new side panel has come up and it's called apps. And it says, David Paskin is requesting to remote control, I'll say accept.
So then you jumped down here. And so now I can see, without clicking anything, I can see that your original sound is off. If I click into your settings, it'll show me that you're using your FaceTime camera. You don't have HD video turned on. You don't have hide non-video participants. It'll show me your microphone, your speaker, your audio profile, whether it's original sound or Zoom background noise removal, and then the other things here. So what this will allow me to do, Lois, are you okay if I click something here?
Go for it. Just put it back the way you found it when you're done.
Promise. So I will click something that
Actually,
go
you could lower Lowe's microphone a bit because Lowe's very hot today.
So I'm not
If
sure
you
that
can
I
do
can do
this.
that.
Yeah, because it's a digital microphone interface.
No, because there is no volume control in here. This is just settings.
So you can't.
Right. So, for example,
That's
I
too
can
bad.
turn on HD video for her, which will hopefully make her look.
Now I am getting a pop-up warning window on my screen, and I'm going to have to allow this change. So he can't do it without my permission. I will allow that. And I moved my microphone further away, so that should be better.
Well, what I just did doesn't affect your microphone, but
No,
so
I'm
now,
just telling whoever was saying that.
okay. So now I can see the other thing that I can now see all of your available microphones. So if and now again, we'll put this back on. I'm going to change to you're on an iMac right now, I assume.
I am.
So I'm going to change to your iMac microphone.
And I will allow that. And now you're going to have a very different sound from me.
Exactly. So I'll go ahead and put that right back for you. And every time I'm making a change, she's getting a pop-up that says, hey, can he do this?
David, go to, if you would, the camera settings.
Yes.
Hold on, let me do that. And
Sorry.
what are your options on the camera settings?
FaceTime HD camera and Insta360 link.
And
As far as selecting the camera,
There should be more.
those are the only two that I see.
Oh, okay. All right. That answers my question, that it's not showing you something that is not currently attached
Correct.
or active.
Hey, David, is the gear icon cosmetic on the left, or does it actually do anything?
No, it's cosmetic.
All right.
That's a great question. Yeah.
It's just showing that he's in my settings because you click the gear to get here.
Right. Right.
See, there's that gear.
And I have to say it's interesting, or maybe I'm not right about this, maybe because I keep everything in dark mode and you don't really get to experience the colors as much. But I remember when this first came out, that this little animation here and the color scheme around, they were saying that this is going to sort of be a new look for Zoom, and I haven't seen that around. But again, maybe
You're in dark mode. Maybe it's only in light mode.
Right. No, yeah. Although, I mean, you can see it here in dark mode, but I don't see it elsewhere. I don't know, it's just really interesting.
Now, David, did we not test this in version 5, not 6?
I don't remember what version it was. Why would you expect any significant differences?
There was a big, there was a big interface change of the client from 5 to 6. They rebranded from 5 to 6.
Right, and I think that's when the colors came. But again, it's a nothing burger. But it confuses me a little when I have beautiful colors in a couple places in dark mode, but not in other places in dark mode. It's just this stands out. It's not consistent. That's all. The only other thing you can do here, other than take control of everyone with their permission, is I could turn on original sound for all. So I can't imagine why you'd want to do this, but if you want to hear everyone's cat and air conditioner and everything, then you could turn this on. Why would
And
you
that
want to do
only affects me because I'm the only one in that list.
No. Wait, that's a good question.
Uh-huh.
I'm going to try this,
Uh-oh.
and you all tell me what happens.
I'm getting an allow
Did
question.
anybody else get a pop-up? Thank you, Lois. I
You're
didn't
welcome.
realize that. It's only folks who are down. I assumed, because this is outside of this, well, so is that, but I assumed this meant everyone, but it's just the people that
Yeah.
I've brought down here.
Again, David, bad wording from our friends at Zoom.
So
I don't know.
I took it that way too.
So I am being controlled by David, my settings, and yet I don't see this app in my apps. When I look there, I see the things that I use, and oh, suddenly it appeared. Okay, there we go. So now let's see if I can. When I click on it, nothing happens.
Yeah, but what you're talking about, Lois, is this is a something very intentional that Zoom has been trying to do, which is how can we allow apps to integrate without folks actually having to use the app? And
Right,
this
but
is
I tried to use it, and I'm gonna try and control his, but I can't see that panel that you had. Maybe it's
So-
because I'm gonna revoke your control and see if anything else shows up, okay?
Well, no, don't revoke my control. Just because, only because I want to see if that's the problem. Are you able to share? Is there a way for you to share what you're seeing or no?
No, share screen doesn't, well, maybe it does. Let me try. It's been a while since I've tried to do that. Sharing
There's a
screen,
setting-
stop somebody else's.
There's a
Yeah.
setting in the background where you can say show my Zoom windows, but
You have to be host or co-host.
So, can you see?
no, we've just got your browsers.
So you don't have this remote settings
No.
app window? Okay, then I'll stop that.
So you're in the remote settings app.
Well, on the side, it says apps, and then it has remote setting control, and that's where it's telling me that you have a remote control and what you've done. Everything you've done is listed here. You did turn this on, you turned that off, you changed this speaker, you put it back. So I can see exactly what you did.
Interesting. So I just removed you from my remote control over here.
Now it just changed. And all of that information is now gone, including all the stuff you did and didn't do. That's all gone.
And so now can you?
So I'm closing that window. I'm going down to apps. On the bottom of my screen, it says apps. I'm clicking it. I'm going to click remote settings. And that little window opens again, but it says you have no pending invites, and that's the control requests. And then under the three dots on there, it says copy app link, refresh app, auto open in meetings, close current app. And then under the, no.
So let's try
All
this.
that is share.
Let's try this. I think Andre may have said this, and forgive me. I wonder if you need to be a co-host or a host.
Give me the power, man. You're a host. Give me the power.
Yeah, that's exactly what I'm going to do. So
That's
are now.
exactly the message I'm getting when I launch the app. To remote control another participant, please ensure you're a host or a co-host.
Oh, there you go. So now that you're a co-host, Lois, you should be able to. I didn't know that. That's interesting.
It looks the same.
Well,
I mean, I could take a picture of this and show it to you on a share.
Close the app and restart it.
I just did. I'll close the app again. And now I will restart it. And no.
Huh. Let me refresh the app on my end. Maybe that'll make a difference. I don't know.
Well, this isn't anything about you because that control request was wiped out.
So in the top right, do you see the share button?
Yes, I do.
Next to that, there are three dots.
Yes,
if you
there
click
are.
on that and click refresh app.
Okay.
Let's see if that does anything.
Oh, you are so smart, David. So smart.
It should refresh on its own, though.
It did.
I mean, that's.
Well, I mean, it's refreshed now.
Yeah.
So I can, try and control anybody
Yep.
like David.
It would really be nice if we could control volume, as Andre was saying. That would be a nice little touch.
So he's got so many screens going and so many complications in life that I don't want to really change anything because I think I could probably mess it up. I do have the option on camera of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17 camera options.
Yeah, but are they all in your security settings? Have you allowed Zoom to access all 17 of those?
I'm not going to click on any of them, but I'm sure some of them aren't really.
I imagine Zoom's only going to populate the list with cameras that have permission from the operating system to be used by Zoom. That would be my guess.
But Black Magic Design null, is that really a camera? That's an input source?
It's not a camera. It's my ATEM switcher.
But it's an input source.
Yeah.
Huh. NDI video, is that an input source?
Yes.
Is NDI on at the moment?
So potentially, but here's what's interesting actually. In the building next to me, which is the sanctuary building of our temple, there are a bunch of NDI sources over there, 3 PTZ cameras and a bunch of other stuff. And because we're all on the same internet, I can access any of those cameras in my thing. I never do, but hypothetically.
If I clicked
could.
on InstaLink.
Oh, the
360.
Insta is mine. Yeah, you
And
could
so
click on
I could,
that.
is that okay?
Sure.
Here we go. I've now switched to InstaLink.
Yep,
If
and I
it
got-
approves it.
And I got a request.
All right. Right, so, and wait a minute, your regular camera is gone. Oh, eCam, there we go.
Yeah, because you changed my camera.
I know, but I was gonna put it back. And it took a while. It had slipped down to the bottom of the list.
Oh, so wait, you turned it back?
You have to
Oh,
agree
do
to
me a
it.
favor. Do it. No, you didn't actually.
I did.
Do it again. Switch to the Insta and then it's Frank. I'm sorry. So, I pressed buttons over here, which I shouldn't have. All right.
Hold on,
No, you don't want to do that.
that was,
There
there
you
we
go.
go. Okay, now there's the Insta.
So I said, yeah, there we go. Now it's switched, and now you should
And
be able
now
to
I'm
switch it
gonna go
back.
back and it has moved that eCam way down towards the bottom and I found it. There we go. Now I'm back on eCam, but he has to agree.
It's kind of cool.
All right, that's
I have to
enough
say.
of that. I'm gonna stop.
Yeah, but that's kind of cool.
End control. I sure you want end control. You really could do a lot of stuff.
You really could. Frank, jump in.
I was gonna move on to another app. I like the Zoom timer app for certain kinds of meetings. And one other thing you might consider is far side camera control, but that's not an app. It's just part of Zoom's functionality.
Right. And that's not an app. So how does that interface? How does that work within Zoom?
You have to go into your account management and enable it globally. Then on your user settings, you have to enable it. And then the person basically, let's say it's me. It's meant as a disability feature. And what it's for is there's a lot of people who don't have the ability to use their hands or arms. So what happens is you can have a trusted associate in the Zoom meeting who will control your camera if your camera has the ability to pan or tilt or zoom. And they can pan and tilt and zoom your camera for you. You can also revoke that privilege, but it could also be used for non-disability type situations where maybe you want to move the camera around because the person's a little bit out of frame or something, assuming their camera has that kind of ability.
Right. I mean, that's the key to it, and the kicker, I think, is that this sounds like it would be really helpful in productions where you're using.
Yeah,
PTZ cameras,
its
but-
primary intention is for people with disabilities. The added benefit is you could use it in production.
Yeah. And Hasmuk's got the timer up right now. I'm in a class where they use that timer all the time. That timer is really something they love using. Tony, did you want to jump in?
I wanted to ask a question. What is your eCam camera? What is the actual camera that you're using with eCam as your primary camera?
It's a Sony A6400
Okay.
with a
The reason I
Sigma.
ask is because I'm looking to make a change from my iPhone. It's not that I'm not satisfied with it, but it has become problematic in that it's very hard for me to have consistency with it being put in the same exact position, because I have to take it out of my teleprompter and
Right.
turn it off, turn it back on, and then the frame that I purchased so that it would work in the teleprompter, I'm not ever actually able to put it in the same position. So when Mike was on with me, I spent almost an hour trying to get the camera right.
Yeah.
And I still wasn't really, satisfied with it. So I'm trying to find a solution that I can use with in the back of the teleprompter that I can also connect to the ATEM. So that's why I asked.
Yeah, so this A6400 that I'm using, I bought it back in 2020, and from what I understand, sort of the updated version, if you will, is the ZVE10, which is, and they just came out with the ZVE10 Mark II, which has some nice new functionality, but I mean, if I never, my camera has literally sat there for 4 years. I never move it, I never touch it, I never do anything with it. So I would, if I were in the market, I would probably be looking for a secondhand Sony or something at this point, that I could pick up.
Okay, thank you.
And the reason I would do personally, the reason I would do Sony is because of the focus. It has really, really good autofocus. Lois and Hasmuk.
So, wrong button. Yeah, when we're talking about controlling someone else's camera, here's a little oddity. I have an Insta-Link or Insta360 Link camera, and it is a pan tilt zoom, so it can do all those things. But just if I plug it in, there's no controls for me to control it. I have to turn on and tie it up with an app that is a controller. But here's the tip. If there's someone else in the Zoom meeting, I can just say, why don't you, move my camera around for me? And you can ask for permission to control the camera. I can give it to you, and you can make it do its thing. Well, I can't without having an extra app. Who knew? Hey,
There you
Hasmuk.
go. Hasmuk, what you got?
Yeah, I hope you allow me to make the river flow backwards. I want to go back to companion, but it's still Zoom related. Just a question of migrating from 2x to 3x companion. What I noticed is that when you use the presets in your ZoomISO module and you bring the gallery buttons into a companion button, the old way I used to do is just set up one button completely and then copy that across other buttons and just change the gallery position. What I noticed with 3x is that when you drag a preset button in the ZoomISO module and you put it into any one of the buttons, and even if you change the configuration in the button, it remains for that gallery position. Is that something you've experienced? This is obviously related to the module. I'm not sure if it's the ZoomISO module or companion.
I'm not sure I'm fully understanding.
One
Repeat that one more
quick
time.
question.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah,
One
go
quick
ahead.
question. Hasmuk, did you use the variables? Did you adjust the variables? Because in the companion 3, you have the feedback system and you have the
Yes.
variables, and it works a little different. And I believe if you take one button, place it in position 1, then place it, copy into position 2 and adjust it, I think you have to maybe do more adjustments than before.
Oh, so you think it's the variable itself? Because I set up one button, including the variable, and then copy that button to the next button. But when I copy it, it's still linked to the very first button.
Yeah, because then you have to adjust the variable. In the variable, you have one thing for position, position and row, something like this. And I think you have to adjust it from 1.1 to 1.2 or 0.1 to 1.1. I'm not sure, but if you
Okay.
if you drag 2 buttons from the presets into and watch out for the variables, I think you will see a slightly different thing, and then you have to adjust this in the copy it and paste it button. Yeah.
When you Andre, when you say variable, when you drag the ZoomISO preset without any setting up any variables, would you expect the same kind of behavior?
Please repeat. I didn't get the point.
So let's say I have a blank companion button page, and I go to ZoomISO module and into the presets and select from gallery positions. And let's say I take gallery position 1 and I put it on the first button. And I copy that button and put it on the second button. Now I want to change that to gallery position 2. So if I go into the variable that it brings up and I change everything that's 1 to 2, when I press that button 2, it still references to the first button.
I see. I should.
David, did you follow that?
I would have to take a look because I'm not. I don't use it that heavily. But I'm sure there is one point where you have to adjust something that you didn't adjust yet, because it doesn't.
Maybe,
It doesn't do it magically. It does refer to something, and the reference is not working in some kind.
Something in there, yeah. Got you. Sorry, David. It was a legitimate Zoom question, Zoom related question.
Even if it's not legitimate, I'm okay with it.
Thank you, sir.
What else do we have, folks?
Updates?
Release notes on Monday?
Mike, you want to do some release notes with us?
Oh, you want me to do this? I've got to prepare then.
You don't have to. I mean, I can do it if you want.
Yeah, no, I was just going to get back to quickly with Hasma. Yeah, when you're copying the button in 3, it does an identical button copy from that position to the other position. It won't modify anything in that button when you copy it. So you then have to go into that new button that you made and then start making the modifications there. And it should not reference that other button where you copied it from. So it should.
What if you did option when you moved it? Would that make any difference? Option alt?
I think if it's doing it on copy, it'll probably do the same with the move. And Mike, exactly what you said, that's exactly what I did, is that when you drag the preset into the button, it brings up that whole page of the gallery position, with the gallery number and so on and so on.
Right.
And then if you change it, say from gallery position 1 to 2, so even if you put 2 in, when you press 2, it still references button 1. So I'll try and make a short video and show it to you and figure it out.
Right. The only other thing that I can think of is that it might go to the first position if you don't actually have more than the full 49. Like if you're actually testing it in one that might not have a gallery page 2, there might actually not be a gallery page 2 to actually go to.
Got you. Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So if you're testing yourself in your own meeting, you would have to have at least 2 pages worth to see if the actual button will go to the second page.
Got you.
Right? Because it might just go, I don't understand, and it's going to give you that first page by default because there is no second page. That's my only other thinking about that.
By the way, I fixed my buttons.
I didn't want to hog the discussion. Yeah, it's Mike, it is more gallery position rather than pages. So, but
okay.
Yeah. So I drag from the ZoomISO preset that comes in Companion 3. And in there, you have an option that says select folks from gallery position. And when you open that up, it opens up all different preset buttons for gallery position. And anyway, try it out. You'll see what I mean.
So, Hasmuk, let me just see if I'm. So, what I
so
did
there we go.
here, right, is
Go to preset one.
I went to presets,
Preset.
and this is my.
ZoomISO.
Actually, let me go back a page. This is my gallery page. So this is what I'm calling. So if I go up to select from gallery,
Right.
then I could drag them all over one at a time.
Yes. Now, when let's say you drag the first one onto a button.
Let me go to a blank
And
page so I
then-
don't screw up my page. Okay.
Drag
ahead.
that to a button.
Yeah.
You got it. Okay.
Okay.
So now if you
Go ahead.
have you dragged it in? You haven't dragged one in.
Yeah. It's here.
Okay. Yeah. So now if you copy that to O2,
Okay.
copy that button and put it in O2. Yeah. Now you go in there into O2
Yeah.
and it's still referencing the first button. Now you change that position from O1 to O2, right on top. No, go up again. Up your screen. Yeah. There we go.
Right here.
No. Position 01, change
Right.
it to position 02.
Right.
Yeah,
There we go.
Hasmuk,
But you also
Yeah.
have to change it. You also have to change it down
Yeah,
here.
Yeah, so it's position 2.
Right.
Now
So
if you
yes.
press that
Oh,
button,
do we know
it'll
what the other numbers after 02 mean? Because there was a 0.0 and 50. What is this referring to?
You're right. I
Because
have no
maybe this
idea.
has to be adjusted as well. Yeah.
Yes,
But
you're probably
you
right.
you can maybe find this out by looking into the variables tab again.
Yeah. For what it's worth, this is not.
yeah, Hasmuk, I think what ended
Yeah.
up happening too is that you actually were choosing, like you did make the modification properly down to like number 2, but you weren't changing it in the text. And the text wasn't understanding what it is, because the text is one thing, but what the actual button does is actually lower.
Oh,
right?
I know.
The text
I
is
know.
lower.
I then I changed the lower as well. So it because the lower says position and then toggle after that. So you change because the first button brings in position 1, and then you change that position as well. So if you
David,
look at that, David,
Please,
And
Please
here
use-
comes the
please
man
take
to
a-
give us the help.
Wait. Yeah. I was just gonna
please
say.
take a
Just
second button.
hold on a
Please
second.
take a second button from the preset.
Yeah. Wait. Hold on. Wait a second. Justin James is coming in, and he'll be able to help us. All right. So I'm gonna go ahead and select from gallery, and I'll bring in. This is technically button 2. Okay. And so here's the setting over here. O2 position 2.
and let's say you want to make that gallery position 3 and not position 2.
Right. Well, let me change. I'll change this one. I'll make this 3.
You have to, I think you have to
And go
change the
down.
1 in the beginning as well. Because in the new button, it said 2 in the beginning, yes.
Okay. Now go down and change that to 3. There we
So
go.
now let's go back.
So
and-
Justin is here. Maybe he has
Yeah,
a
it
quick
hasn't
solution.
changed. Justin,
Hasn't changed.
Hello, David.
how you doing?
I'm doing fantastic.
I don't know if you can see we're playing around with Companion. So we dragged in. Let me start this over again. So
Who's Justin? Justin, do I know you?
Justin James is the developer of this plugin for
don't worry.
Companion. Yeah.
Don't worry.
Um,
We've been dialoguing in Discord.
Okay. So Justin, we dragged in from the presets. We dragged in from select from gallery, me, and we put it over here. And then instead of dragging in number 2 and number 3, we thought, well, let's just go in here and let's just change this. right? So we wanted to change this to the second person, for example.
Yep. So let me explain a little what the text is doing. That text expression is saying, grab the first 50 characters of the person's name. Because we typically have the feedback at the bottom, it's an attempt to try not to put people's names over the top of the feedback, because then the feedback's hard to see. So the number 2 at the very front is just so you know what the heck position you're actually clicking on. Does nothing more than tell you that. Later on in the string where it says gallery position 02, that is the actual gallery position variable. So you would change that to 2, 3, 4, whichever position it's going to be in. And then to make it actually take effect for all the actions, you have actions down below that you've got to update. So you got to pick the right position. And if you go to the feedback page or tab, you also have to adjust all of these as well in here. And so there's several spots in here to adjust and a variable.
This is why it wasn't changing. Gotcha. Right.
Yep. And if you keep going down, there's even more to change.
There is?
Or there used to be. Let me go look at mine.
Oh, there it is. Yep. Sorry. I was zooming in. That's why.
Justin, is there an easier way to do it than what they're doing?
Oh,
Yeah,
sure.
copy it over from the presets.
Yeah, just drag it in for the presets.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
there's 49 presets already set for exactly what David just did for position 2. You'd go in the presets and you'd grab whichever position you actually want and just drag them over.
Page. This is I just do this, and I will say that I, by default, and this is a limitation of Companion. I don't like the I'm old. I can't see, so I want the text size to be bigger. So, and I also don't need the 1 there. So I will, whoops. So I will take away. Oops, sorry. I will take away that stuff at the beginning so that I just get the person's name nice and big. And I have to do that to every button. But yeah, you just drag them over from the preset. That's the easier way to do it. Frank,
Justin, sorry, I lost audio for a second. Besides changing, you say the top text is just graphical representation of exactly which button you're. But what else do you need to change in that button itself?
So you go, Justin, you want me to just show him? Is that okay?
Yeah, you can just show them.
Right. So you change in the position, you change that.
Yeah, I got that.
Yep. Down here, you change to position 2.
I got that too.
And then under feedbacks, you have to change all of these.
Ah, okay. You have to change it, otherwise it shows up the other one. Okay, got you.
Right. And there is, put it back to this. It says, you can't really see it, but it says Frank there. So now it's back to normal.
Yeah. The reason why I did the way I did it is set up one button with all the variables that I wanted, including the feedback and everything else, and then copy that across all the other buttons and just change the gallery position. But now you have to change a number of things before it references the correct gallery position, I guess.
Right. And before Justin built out this newest build, which has so much amazing feedback built right into it, you're right, Hasmukh, you could either build one button, put all the steps in, and then copy it over, or put all the buttons in and then change all the feedbacks on each one. Yeah. Frank, did you want to jump in?
One quick question. I have one quick question before maybe, Frank. Justin, what is the 0 referring to in the string before the 50? And
It's
sorry,
what
Frank.
position to start at. So 0 is the very first character of the person's name.
And then 50 characters long. I see.
And 50
Thank
characters
you.
long.
Is there, Justin, this is a silly question. This is really going to show how stupid I am. Is this a particular language, coding language, this kind of stuff?
It's just happened to be the way that they set up the expressions. There's a whole documentation on the companion doc site that shows all the different expressions that you can use.
No, but
So
I
that's
guess
just-
what, like, is this, would this kind of language with the $sign and stuff like that, would this be called HTML or Java or is it none of those?
At the end of the day, it's similar to JavaScript, but it's just the syntax that the companion folks picked.
Okay. Thank you. Frank, I'm so sorry. Go ahead.
No problem. Since Justin's here, you may or may not have an answer for this, but at the beginning of the show, we talked about the new Stream Deck that's geared more towards professionals, and we talked about how there's going to be a new app called Buttons, which is sort of like, I guess, companion. Do you know anything about that? Are you involved with that?
Not involved at all. I
Do you
know
know anything about it?
all the same articles that you've read.
All
That's
right.
it.
You're probably way more tuned into the community than I am.
Yeah, they kept it really quiet until about a day before the announcement, some people found out about Buttons.
Okay.
It
Interesting.
is in beta. You can download it right now. But I believe it only can be used with Stream Deck Studio. I don't think it will work with just.
Yeah, that was actually going to be my question as well, Justin. Is Companion going to be even usable on the Studio model?
Yes, 3.4 already supports it. David, if you go back to your 3.4 and you look under, I think it mentions it both in settings and surfaces.
Wait a second. What do you want me to do? I'm sorry.
If you go back to your companion.
Oh, to my companion. Yes.
And click on surfaces.
Surfaces.
And if you look, oh, well, I have another tab on mine. And and maybe it's a setting I turned on. I had remote surfaces. And under there, it says Stream Deck Studio support. So they do support it. Oh, I know why you don't have that one. There's a setting that says watch for discoverable remote surfaces. If you turn that on, then you get the other tab. It's under settings.
How do I do that? I want that.
Just
watch for. Here it is. I do have it turned on. No.
Oh, I know.
Watch for discoverable.
I think you're still on a beta version of 3.4.
I am.
Yep.
Is that
if you
bad?
go to the final release, then they've changed a few things. Not bad.
But I'm on the latest. I'm not on the latest beta.
Nope, they came out with the stable release.
So should I not be on? But I'm on. Should I not? Well, it doesn't matter. So
if you want to play with Stream Deck Studio, if you had one, you'd be on 3.4. For the stuff that you're using it for, doesn't really matter.
Right. I'm on 3.4 dot something dot 3. I mean, I am on 3.4, but I'm just on the further beta down the road, I guess.
Yep. And then since I'm here, I know we're going to talk about Buttons in a sec, but I'll mention the group that you were talking about earlier. Group 0 is actually the host, and Group 1 is Spotlight. Group 2 and above is user defined.
Oh, Group 0. See, I don't think like a computer guy. I would never have thought, oh, there's a Group 0. That makes sense. Group 0 is hosts, Group 1 is spotlights, and then it's Group 2.
Yep.
Gotcha.
That's why you see Group 2 and above in all the dropdowns.
Right. That makes sense. I mean, this really does look really pretty exciting. It is, all of this is well above my, understanding.
We know you're getting one.
No, I'm
You
not.
owe it to us.
Do I really?
Yes.
Do I? Oh,
It's going into David's new rack mount kit.
and look at this. You have to pay for this. This one's not free. $9 a month for all companion connections, up to 3 surfaces. Why would you need? Yeah, that's plenty.
Yeah, that's more for the professional broadcast sector.
Of course,
I think.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow.
So my question would be, Justin, did they say anything in the Slack channel? Because I'm in there too. Did they say anything exciting regarding the differences between the two pieces of software going forward?
They haven't said anything really in the Slack channel. Some people have asked, and a couple core companion developers have chimed in and said they know as much as we do that they're not actually involved in Buttons. So there's no one officially involved in Buttons has said anything on their Slack channel.
The plot thickens.
It really looks incredibly powerful. Again, I don't understand what it does, but it
Yeah,
Very
let's wait
cool.
until after IBC. Then we know
Right.
more.
Right. I think I saw somewhere that they said we're not going to be as responsive or, because of IBC. Because they're right now they're busy launching it there. In any case.
Was that an Elgato reference, David, or was that a companion bit focused reference?
I thought maybe bit focus, but I could be wrong. I could be wrong about that. Yeah.
Because for sure we know Elgato is definitely at IBC.
Yeah.
They're together. They're presenting their
They're presenting
solutions
together.
Yeah.
I wonder if at some point Elgato will buy, I don't know what there is to buy, but if they'll buy Companion, kind of fold it in. I don't know. I don't know. Well, what else should we do notes or no? I don't know. What do you think? Mike, I'm passing it to you. I'm exhausted. But you decide what we should. Justin, it
You're
was so
passing
nice
it
of you to
to
come in.
me.
Thank you so much. What just amazing to have you here. And again, what an amazing companion build you've given us for OSC. It's just stunning.
Thanks for all the help, Justin. Thank you.
So what should we
Okay.
do?
What should we do? What
There's
should
a
we do?
huge update in meeting features in the next release that should change the Zoom universe quite a bit.
Really?
Come back next week and
Go
I'll
for
tell you
it.
what it is.
Wait, the one in these release notes?
Yeah.
I don't really see anything all that exciting in the release notes. What
I'll
am
put
I
it in
missing?
I'll put it in the chat.
Well, no, I'm looking at it, but what am I missing? What is new and big that I mean,
It's in
if
the
it's
chat.
look in the chat. I have to open my chat. Hold on a second.
So much work. Sorry, my wife doesn't like being on camera, so I keep turning my camera off.
Options to disable Windows system audio. Oh, these two things. Yeah.
Anyone who's tried to play music in a Zoom meeting who's been upset by not being able to do so, this will really help.
All right. Users can disable system audio. And here are the notes for folks. Users can disable system audio enhancements on Windows to prevent interference with Zoom's audio profiles in meetings. Is this what you're talking about?
It is indeed.
This feature provides a toggle under advanced audio settings to turn off system audio enhancements, allowing users to sync with you. Okay, so because I'm not on Windows, someone's going to have to explain.
Well, we have a similar issue on Mac, but anyways, so what happens is Zoom has noise reduction, echo cancellation, right? Built in, and you can adjust that to a low tolerance or a high tolerance. I'm sure you're familiar with that. And then the problem is that most computers and devices now have their own noise reduction built into the operating system, or it might be a utility. Let's say your sound card might have drivers that it might even present themselves as a small application. Those are also filtering out for what it doesn't perceive as human speech. And Windows also has it built into the operating system. So now with one button, you may not be a computer person and you may not know where to find this stuff in Windows. You'll be able to say, hey, Windows, stop doing noise reduction. I want this music to come through. And I know my Zoom settings are correct. Right now, where most people get stuck is they go to the Zoom support documentation. It says to use natural sound, whatever sound for musicians, original sound. So, and then it doesn't work. And they're like, stupid Zoom doesn't work. They haven't modified anything about their operating system also doing noise reduction. So they don't even know that Windows is doing noise reduction or that their phone is doing noise reduction. So this will be like a one-stop spot where you'll be able to turn some of that stuff off.
You know where we have that issue over on the Mac side is
wide and narrow. and standard.
That, but also with portrait mode.
Yeah.
Is that everyone, it just turns on by default for everyone, and people can't figure out why, if they're holding up a picture or whatever, why people can't see it.
The last two releases of Apple's operating system have added a lot of different functionality than before, and I don't think a lot of users have kept up. So they don't know that the Windows or Mac operating system has built-in noise
Right.
reduction, and it confuses everybody. And it's you see it on the Zoom community forums dozens of times a week.
Yep. Yep, absolutely. And we also have this built-in, didn't we talk about this last week or the week before, that now if Zoom hears music, it'll say, hey, it sounds like you're playing music. Do you want to turn on original audio? Which is super
which is
helpful.
great. It's just that you can have Zoom doing everything correctly, and Windows will still
No, exactly.
thwart
Right.
you. So now there's a way to tell Windows to knock it off.
Right. Right. This is just another piece of the puzzle. Yep.
I imagine they coded this because they probably got tired of all the complaints they receive.
Yep. By the way, what do you all think about, I was with someone the other day, and they were telling me that they have a strong aversion to bots in a meeting. You know, like those AI bots, or Stream Alive is technically a bot, I guess. I don't know. What do you all think?
It's a big problem.
Is it?
I think it's a big problem. They're helpful when they're intended. The problem is quite often they join on their own now, and they're hard to get rid of. There's a lot of types of meetings that are confidential in nature, and some of the things will even send a transcript to everyone who was in the meeting. These are problems, I think. Like Zoom has built-in closed captioning, Zoom has transcription, and then to invite these third-party bots that you may not even intend to show up angers a lot of people because it ruins a lot of things about their meetings.
What kind of bots are you talking about? I'm not aware of this.
There's Read AI. What are some of the other ones?
Fathom?
Fathom's one. Yeah, Fathom's one. There's a bunch of them, and there'll probably be more. And really what they, if you're being generous, what they're trying to do is mimic the functionality that's already in Zoom.
Well, in fairness, though, I think that for some of these, Zoom built the functionality after, like,
that's true.
Read and Fathom, they were all here before Zoom had.
Yeah, you're right. But they're still out there trying to get subscribers. So
fair enough, right?
A lot of people are using it. There's people who are teaching courses where students sign up for this and they don't attend the lectures, and the bot attends the lecture and the student gets a summary. And a lot of instructors hate that because they want you to engage with the material to learn. There's also meetings that might have, confidentiality, maybe it's banking or investments or medical meetings. Having these bots show up, where is this data going? Whose servers is it on? What are their privacy policies and so forth? What are they doing with this data? Are they training third-party LLMs? What if it's ruining the aesthetics or the kind of the meeting, the flavor of the meeting, knowing that there's bots copying everything you say? Maybe people won't speak as freely. Like, I can think of a lot of downsides. At the beginning when they were released, they were really good in some respects for things like people with disabilities who needed captions or who needed transcripts after the fact. But Zoom's come a long way to building all this stuff directly into their own tool.
Yeah, absolutely. So
I'll say I'm on the very opposite side. I actually really like the AI bots. I use Fathom for all of my meetings. The thing that it gives me that Zoom doesn't have is I can click a highlight button. I can click an action items. It has several ways to mark up the meeting along the way to make it easier later on to go back and look at specific sections. Now, for something that is sensitive in nature for meetings, you should turn the waiting room on and not let them in. I do agree. If it's a sensitive meeting, you shouldn't let them in, and you should have a waiting room on to ensure only the right people come into it.
In order not to get sued, I'm not going to name the app, but one of the AIs basically contacts all the users in the meeting, all the participants, and offers to install itself on their computers. It's almost self-replicating like a virus.
Yes, I do really dislike the bots that the minute you join the meeting spam you with the little private message over and over and over again that they're recording the meeting. Like, I can see you're a bot. I don't need a message from you every 5 minutes.
Right, but I mean, they're doing that to protect themselves, right? They're doing that because if they don't reveal that they're there doing whatever they're doing, then
It's pretty obvious though when you see the names like Justin's Fathom Note Taker, David's AI Note Taker. Like, it's pretty obvious in the names that something's happening and it's a bot.
Yeah, but
can't you
another
block
thing
them
it does
from the
is
meeting
sorry.
or throw them? Can't you block them or throw them out?
They're hard to
Yeah.
they're difficult to get rid of sometimes. The other thing it'll do is some of these bots will go through all of your calendars entries and invite themselves to all of your meetings, even if you only intended it to go to one meeting. And now you've got these note-taking bots or whatever showing up in all kinds of meetings, and the hosts are perplexed or upset that these bots are, imagine if you expected 30 people and 28 bots showed up. What would you think of the value of your meeting then?
Yeah, I will say not all AI bots are nice.
Well, technology is neutral, is how we use it, right?
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Okay, guys. So are we going to go through some of the notes before we have a good weekend and sign off? Because David has done his exit of the day as is normal around 5 o'clock Eastern. So let me know. What we'll do is I'll actually flip over to some of the actual upcoming stuff. So Frank, what section was that in? Was that in the general features?
I think so, yeah. But there's some before it. I skipped down because I really like that one.
Okay. So yeah, okay. All right. Yeah. So it looks like they've actually modified this whole section here too. So let me just go through here quickly and see. So manage sign-in devices and sessions. Okay, so new or enhanced feature. All right.
That's a good
That's-
one. I use that one as an admin. I can log people out of all of their devices at the same time. Quite often when someone's having a trouble joining a Zoom meeting, it's because they've got multiple devices and some of them aren't logged out. So now users will be able to do this themselves. They'll be able to see a list of devices that potentially are logged in to Zoom, and they'll be able to say, "Oh, I didn't know I left my iPad running. I'll log that out." And then, so I see value in this anyways.
Okay, in the audio tone support for mute and unmute actions. That doesn't sound like a bad thing, but again, I guess it would be annoying depending on.
Really depends on the person whether they want that or not, but I mean, it's good for the people who want it. You'll have one more indication that you're muted or unmuted.
Right, right. So the MSI related features and such.
Yeah,
that
I
is
think
more
we can skip
specific to
that.
the installers. Yep. So we'll go through that. Simplified mute audio notification. All right. Users will receive a consistent. Oh, right. Yeah. So sorry, let me just fix that. Yeah, I got to get used to the new interface here. There we go. All right, so simplified muted audio notification. Users will receive a consistent reminder across Zoom Workplace desktop app when they are speaking while muted during a meeting. Different function. Okay, the reminder stays visible long enough for users to read and unmute themselves. The reminder message is simplified, removing multiple options for unmuting. That sounds similar to what we've already got though, Frank, right? Or is this different in that regard? It's a simplified muted audio notification, unless it's going to look different. That's the only thing I can think of. I don't know about that one.
we'll find out on Monday what it looks like.
Yeah, that's going to be that one's going to be a TBD, to be figured out next week, next week's show.
Just sounds
Showtime.
like they're making it have less clutter or something.
Yeah. So the next one is showtime of next reoccurring session in meeting and webinar waiting room. While waiting,
That's kind of
to
neat.
join- Yeah, while waiting to join a reoccurring meeting webinar series, users are shown the start time and date of the next scheduled session. Okay, so so this would be, so yeah, all right, meeting or webinar. All right, fine. And the waiting room displays starting at followed by the upcoming session's time and date. Okay, so right now, correct. In our case, on our weekly, right now, we don't have that. So we would actually next week see, as we come into the waiting room, in theory, when we come into the waiting room next week, we should be able to see that not only this one is starting now, but when the next one is going to be for our following week. That one should also show up, if I'm understanding that correctly.
Yep.
Okay.
Just one more thing to do in the waiting room.
Yeah, just another extra information in the waiting room. Yeah, that's cool. Meeting features, that's the one you guys were just talking about, right? The option to
Yeah,
disable
we
windows.
covered that pretty thoroughly.
Yeah, the ability, and again, the ability for participants to enable AI companion and meeting summary without host. Are we happy without host? Would be the question.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Allow
How
participants.
many meetings do you have where you don't have the host there? But I mean, I can see what I could see. I could see people being upset if every week, if they were using AI Companion to get meeting summaries, and one week the host didn't show up and they couldn't get their summary. So this is maybe to address that. I don't know.
Okay. All right. So that was very quickly through meeting. All right. Webinar. Slide control practice mode in Backstage for webinar presenters. Okay. Presenters can now practice using slide controls within Backstage as they prepare for webinars. Good. Okay.
That's a good thing.
Yeah, that has actually been a problem for Zoom themselves, as a matter of fact, in the
I
Zoom
think-
meetings that I've been to.
No, I think what it is quite often you invite people to present at Zoom webinars who probably don't have a lot of experience. So backstage, they'll be able to practice. I think that's a
Right.
good thing.
Yeah, what I've actually seen in actual Zoom webinar sponsored by Zoom employees, them actually having problems with the slide control of the PowerPoint or the actual slides themselves, where all of a sudden they didn't practice before they started, and all of a sudden, oh, I seem to be having problems switching slides. And then somebody else usually has to do it for them, or the main host has to usually do it. So that actually, we'll see if that actually.
Yeah, I
works with-
mean, I don't know who's listening right now, but some people may not understand what backstage is. Backstage is sort of a place where panelists and the host can go in a webinar that the audience doesn't see, where it's sort of like a green room. You can chat and talk, and you can still pay attention to what's happening in the main webinar, but it's not something the attendees can see.
Right. And I can see there's a lot of actual benefit to that. And I definitely see some actual webinars that you could tell that they might not have actually had people actually go backstage properly and actually do proper venting ahead of time, because I've seen a lot of.
Big companies like
Definitely.
Apple spend weeks practicing their presentations, but a lot of people show up 20 minutes before the presentation and they just kind of fumble their way through it the best they can.
Yep, so true. So new branding features. Okay, so yes, I think this actually might be related to some of the stuff that I've actually heard about in the weekly Zoom events and Zoom sessions meetings. It sounds like this is coming down a little
Yeah,
further.
I think we talked about it a couple of weeks ago, maybe a month ago, that you could now have wallpaper in your Zoom meetings, and you can
Right.
change the colors and stuff. They've brought that functionality to webinars now.
Yeah, and that's never a bad thing to add actually more branding capabilities.
Yeah, and I guess the reason it's called branding it's not just colors. You can upload a graphic. So if you have a graphic, let's say you've repeated the name of your company 1,000 times on a slant on a graphic, then that would show up where the black is inside of the webinar between the tiles.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, moving on. Improved navigation for panelists moving from backstage to webinar. All right. The icon for enter webinar or enter backstage is more predominant. Good. That actually was one thing that I have actually noticed when we were actually doing some testing for the Zoom Test Kitchen. The icon for enter webinar is more predominant, making it easier for panelists to find and switch between the two spaces. That's good. That's definitely good. Again, just improving the actual interface once you actually log in to webinar. That's good. Okay, next, ability to demote alternative host to attendee. Yes, that actually came up quite a bit actually in the Zoom events and Zoom sessions portions, which was that if you've already been a host already and you now just want to be able to be now demoted down to an attendee because now you've done your hosting for that seminar or webinar or meeting at the event, and now you actually want to be able to just attend the actual event for the rest of the different sessions or different meetings or webinars that you're having in that session or event. Now you have the capabilities to now be dropped down to an attendee mode, and that actually will allow you to then just be a regular attendee in the actual main event or main sessions of that event. And it allowed for, there was a lot of complaints because you would keep your either host or co-host capabilities, and that would actually cause you a lot of problems trying to get into the other sessions. So this is definitely a good thing. Frank, did you hear anything? Did I miss anything there? Or did
No,
grab
I
everything?
think you covered it well.
Cool. All right. Yeah, that's what I've been hearing anyways from the event side. So I can imagine that they definitely brought that down to the webinar side. Okay, team chat. Here we go. On the team chat side, we've got new or enhanced feature of thread summaries, streamline user notice for generated content. So users will no longer see a pop-up notice before interacting with the feature, and will now see an updated reminder about AI generated content accuracy when generating a summary of chat threads. Note, this feature will not be immediately available. That is dependent on a back-end release currently scheduled for September 27th. So this might be available or to be continued. We'll see. All right, so we'll go quickly over the team chat ones here. Hyperlink URLs in the compose box on mobile app. Okay, so that's now coming to our friends on iOS and Android. Next, we've got the granular controls of message editing and deletion in team chat. So users can be restricted from editing or deleting messages in team chat based on account and group settings configured by the admins. These settings allows admins to maintain the message integrity and compliance.
I think that's an important one for some kinds of groups. If you have cyberbullying or harassment, and then the person can delete it and say, I didn't say that. Now organizations can make those messages persistent, or maybe conversely, you want people to be able to delete things.
Right. So again, this is them just maturing the product a lot more, Frank, right?
Yep.
Yeah. Okay, next. Enhancements to Team Chat AI Companion, hero prompts and query support. Okay, so this is definitely coming to the main Windows and Mac client. Users can leverage the AI Companion capabilities in Team Chat to streamline their communication. Good. So now AI Companion coming to Team Chat. The AI Companion offers hero prompts tailored to the channel's content. Guiding users towards productive engagements. It can summarize the channels. So it sounds very similar, Frank, if I'm understanding that, to what right now a meeting summary would be that AI Companion does. Am I wrong in reading that?
No, I don't think you're wrong. I like to see what it looks like once it's actually rolled out.
Right. Okay. Next, enhancements to chat and channel options and settings. Users can access consolidated settings for chat and channels through the More Actions menu in the header dropdown and the left side dropdown. The options include editing, assigning new users, clearing history, archiving, leaving, and deleting based on the user's role and chat type. Okay.
Sounds like UI enhancements or refinements.
Yeah, and again, more chat maturity. Enhancements to assigning channel and group chat owners. Owners of channels and group chats can now easily resign. No, I did that right. Okay, resign ownership to other members.
Reassign.
Okay, reassign. There we go. By accessing the member list, selecting a member and choosing assign as owner from the More Actions menu. The ownership is seamlessly transferred. Okay.
It's good, I guess.
Again, yep. Again, it sounds like, again, just adding more maturity to the actual team chat. Okay. Oh, there we go. Next one, direct links for instant one-to-one chats. Users can copy a URL link to their one-to-one chat in team chat. I'm not familiar with the one-to-one team chat or one-to-one chat, and share it with others. When clicked, the link will open the Zoom app and initiate a one-to-one chat with the user. If the recipient is an external user, they can send a contact request with a note. Okay.
Great. Another way to
Yeah,
invite people to chats. Good.
Yeah. All right. Next, chat compose, streamline user notice for generated content. Users will no longer see a pop-up notice before interacting with the feature and will now see an updated reminder about AI generated content accuracy when generating a new chat message. Note, again, this one looks like it's going to be
That same server update.
back end. Yeah,
Yep.
on the 27th. Okay, so we're talking about mail. Let's see what we got here. Visually appealing calendar color palette revamp. Okay, so we're making calendar palette more pretty by the sounds of it, with a consistent color mapping and visually pleasing color options. Very cool. Maturing the calendar app by the sounds of it. Opt-out option for auto BCC, enhanced spell check, and recipient copy paste. Users can opt out of the auto BCC feature on a per email basis. The spell check and sentence completion functionality has been approved for a seamless experience. All right, recipients in the email thread can be copied and pasted, making it easier to reply and compose new emails. Again, to me, it sounds like just maturing the email functionality there. Next, improved workflow of adding hyperlinks to text in emails. While highlighting text to hyperlink, the cursor defaults to the link to field, allowing users to immediately paste the link when they want to hyperlink. Previously, the cursor defaults to the text to display field. Okay. I don't use the email functionality enough to know if that's a good thing or not, to be honest, there with everybody. Okay. And then we've got functionality changes for Zoom clips by the looks of it. Restricting comment functionality for guest users. Frank, I think this one was one that you were talking about, right?
Yeah, even to me, this doesn't even go far enough, but it's a step in the right direction. So moderating comments is a big deal. Personally, I would like to see that there would be a setting where people can comment and they don't get displayed publicly until the owner of the clip reviews the comment and then says, sure, I'll publish that.
Right,
Because
some
people,
sort of moderation.
yeah, this is a step in that direction. You have to have a
Right.
Zoom account to comment, which I guess allows Zoom to track you down, but it's really easy to set up a fake Zoom account. Like all you need is a fake email or a throwaway email, I guess would be a better way of saying it.
Right, correct. Okay, all right, so that's, yeah, so we've talked about that in previous Zoom Test Kitchen discussions. Introducing the next one, introducing the Clips Restart Recording button. Okay, Clips users can restart the recording process at any point during the recording session from the control bar.
That's
If
just
they,
nice.
yeah, go
I
ahead.
don't know if you've ever gone to do a recording and you make a mistake and then you have to stop the recording, then you have to spawn a new recording. This just seems like there'll be a faster way to say, hey, I want to start over.
Right, right, okay. Enhancements to Clips playlist sharing and playback. So Clips playlist owners have the ability to share playlists with others, either within their account or externally. I did hear something about that in the events and sessions world. Is
Yeah,
that
I heard about it a couple of weeks, maybe a month ago. They said it was coming by the end of September.
okay? And this sounds like that is what that is. So that's sort of pseudo YouTube-ish, Frank? Is that where I'm going with that? Where now you can allow it to be external as well without having to log in?
Yeah, I think the idea is the sharing the playlists, right? So
Yeah,
before at the beginning of Clips, they didn't have playlists. Then they added playlists, but you couldn't share them. Now you can have playlists and share them. So it's more maturing, I guess.
yeah, yeah, exactly. Okay. And a changed feature, all right, Zoom Clips owners, disable clip download capability for guest users. I I would say I would be happy with that. You should always have full control of your content. Guest users can still view and stream clips. However, the download option will now be the download option will not be available. They'll
I
be prompted to log into their Zoom account to continue
I
downloading.
could
Go
I
ahead.
can see some people being unhappy about this because it's a hurdle people will have to go through now, right? I can see Zoom from a company perspective being happy because if you want to watch clips and you don't have a Zoom account, you'll be forced to get a Zoom account, which, anytime Zoom can have more registered users, it looks good for their stocks and all kinds of other reasons, right?
Right, right. So the next functionality that I'm just scrolling through is the Zoom phone and the Zoom contact center, which
Yeah, let's skip
um,
that. We don't ever talk
yeah,
about that stuff.
yeah, we don't talk about that in the Zoom test kitchen. So let me just take a look here and see if there was any
Lots
thing
of
in the
patches.
issue. Lots of patches.
Yeah, yeah.
Anything exciting in here, Frank, that you stand out?
The two-factor thing might be an issue for
Yeah,
some people.
yeah,
Uh,
yeah, especially yeah on the Mac OS. That's good. Yeah, I
the
haven't been having
iPad,
problems
the
on
iPad
Windows. So
thing, I guess, the pencil, you know, fixing
yeah,
that, I guess, is good for those people. I
yeah,
personally, well, I don't know. I'm not going to say it, but I'm not. I love my iPads, but whenever I'm in Zoom, I really want to be on a computer whenever possible.
right, exactly. Yeah, I'm with you on that. I actually I rarely will go on my and I'm on Android on my Android device to actually join a Zoom call. I just find it more convenient being in front of my Windows
The
desktop.
desktop application has the most functionality, so I mean, it's good for people who want that, though, right?
Yeah, no, again, there is the flexibility of having the apps, absolutely. But again, they just have to keep in mind that you're not at your desk. So Zoom can only put so much into the actual phone devices or other devices that are not taking advantage of the full desktop. Resolve an intermittent issue when panelists were missing from disclaimer reports despite consenting to recording.
Yeah, just looks like a bunch of bug fixes.
Okay. All right, resolved and yeah, I'm just scrolling through here. So for those using Office 365, it looks like they've fixed some sort of sync issue there with Zoom between them, especially for those people getting that number right there. When you're scheduling meetings, if you're getting that number, supposedly that has now been resolved. So definitely check that out in the next release. Okay, received an issue for a subset of users when they experience one-way audio using the Zoom Workplace app, okay, connected to their ISP, but was present when they're utilizing the company VPN. Okay, so that almost sounds like to me that it was just routing issues over the actual internet from the servers into the app that the audio wasn't coming back properly. That, yeah, I could see that. Resolved issue where username was changed after being moved to the breakout room when joined via forced SSO sign-in. Frank, you guys use SSO, right? Would that be?
We do.
And is that
Single
one that you
sign-on.
guys run into?
No, I've never heard of that one. It's never impacted me anyways, or anyone. I've never had to fix that for anybody.
All right, might have been again, quote unquote, small subset of users.
Well, there's different kinds of SSO. I mean, depending what your authentication system is. So the one that we use may not have this issue, and maybe others do. I'm not aware of it.
Right. Okay. Resolved an issue where meeting participants on iPads or iPhones had their screens cropped to a third ratio. Interesting. I don't own any iPads, so I cannot verify such issues. Frank,
I've never heard of it, but obviously it's out there because they released a patch for it, right?
Yep. All right, here we go. Resolved an issue where standalone installations of 64-bit Zoom Workplace app on certain Windows devices displayed an error. This app will not run on your device.
This one I'm aware of. A lot of people were having to install the 32-bit client because the 64 wouldn't launch or work correctly.
Was that specific to the version of Windows 10 or 11?
I don't know all the details around it. I just know that it seemed like certain Windows builds didn't play well with the 64-bit Zoom Workplace app, and the only guidance they could give at the time was use the 32-bit for now.
Interesting. And it's actually kind of interesting because back here, I actually noticed that they're being very specific with actually this video device on this Latitude, which of course is Dell based, specifically that machine, that model of PC. Failed to start Zoom version 6.1.x, showing error when attempting to turn on the video. Interesting. So that obviously was probably related to the video driver of some sort. Cute.
I think, I'm not trying to be mean to Windows, but, there's only one device maker that makes Apple products, whereas there's lots and lots of PC makers and component makers, which means Microsoft has a way larger burden to support a lot of different code for a lot of different devices and drivers, which means specific builds can probably get messed up easier.
Yep. No, exactly. And again, just through my personal experience, because again, my department, my IT department has actually been testing the latest versions of Windows 11 because currently we're running Windows 10. Windows 11 has been problematic on our PCs right now. Depending on, I've been running into, again, very specifically where I saw that Dell Latitude specific model where there was a driver issue. We've seen some intermittent issues as well with the video driver on some of the latest versions of Windows 11. So again, there is a little finickiness, I will say it that way, when it comes to having Zoom actually, all of a sudden the video will flicker and all of a sudden the video driver all of a sudden gets confused because for whatever reason you've put the Zoom control version here and you put the dual monitor here, and all of a sudden the video driver gets all confused and all of a sudden flickers and all of a sudden Zoom goes in panics and all of a sudden moves everything to one monitor instead of it being on multiple monitors. So I've actually seen that not happen to myself, but one of my team has actually ran into that problem. So definitely keep your eyes open to those using Windows 11. And if you're losing the latest and greatest version, so we're talking about the 24, I believe it's 24H2. Don't quote me on that, but I believe that was a 24H2 operating system version of Windows 11 that was actually causing us a little bit of grief in Zoom. But again, your mileage may vary. And of course, your PC is, PC graphic card base is all different. But again, our specific models that we've standardized on, there was specific issues with that driver on that. And Frank's right, where Apple's locked everything down to it's our drivers, it's our operating system, it's our this. Zoom goes, okay, Deal with it. Apple, it's your gear. Deal with it. All right. Andre, are you still with us? I see you actually testing using ZoomISO, but if you want to come on, by all means, and chat and let us know what you've been up to lately. I don't know if you can actually come in through your ZoomISO itself, because I noticed that you don't have audio enabled or video for that, but okay. On that note, Frank, anything else that we should be talking about for the Zoom Test Kitchen?
No, I think that's enough for 1 week. We'll see how all this stuff rolls out Monday.
Right, Monday is the expected date, barring any last minute decisions by Zoom where all of a sudden they delay it for whatever reason, because they have to make sure all the backend obviously is updated, because we noticed in some of the releases that they were talking about that certain functionality that's been already improved might not be functional until the 27th. Was a couple of information that they actually noticed and they mentioned in the release notes. So do keep those in mind if those do affect you specifically. I know with our Zoom Test Kitchen audience, we don't have a lot of people that do the Zoom phone or Zoom contact center type functionality. So a lot of that didn't apply and won't necessarily affect you based on that. But again, if you do use those functionality, do keep in mind and do check the release notes, because some of it might be fixed in the client, but not available from Zoom servers. Okay. Well, on that note, YouTube, Andre, thank you for showing up. Frank, as usual, thank you. And next week, Fridays, 3 p.m. Eastern and 12 p.m. Pacific. Thank everyone for joining us this week. And don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel. And we'll see everyone next week at the same time, same station here on the Zoom Test Kitchen.